Lindsay here, the frugal crafter and artist too. Today I want to talk about ways you can make money with your art, and most specifically how to get your art published in magazines. And I was cleaning out my studio the other day. I have another studio area where I do custom framing. It's just another way I make a living from my art, or art related things. And I came across this painting, and I really loved this painting. It got published in the Decorative Painter magazine a couple of years ago, and it was a color pencil watercolor piece, and I just really liked it, and I was very proud that it got published. And it kind of got me thinking that, I'm sure you've created something really fantastic that you would love to see in a magazine. And today I'm going to help demystify how to make that happen. And if you like art marketing videos, if you want to know some other ways that you can make money off your arts and crafts, please leave a comment below and like this video. And if you have any questions, particularly pertaining to art and craft marketing, leave those questions below. I can do a series of these if you guys like this type of video. So just let me know. So every magazine is going to have a different submission guidelines. So if you think that you've got an art piece, a painting or a card or a scrapbook page or a craft that you think is really fantastic and you want to offer it up for publication, the first thing you need to do is make sure that it is an original creation. So you can't take something that you made by looking at Susie Q's tutorial on YouTube and then have that published, because that's not an original creation. You've got to have something that you've thought up that is unique, that is different than something that somebody else has done. If somebody can look at your, whether it's a painting, whether it's a craft, and say that is obviously just like so-and-so's, then it's not really a good candidate for publication. You want to have something original. And then you want to research some magazines that would publish similar crafts. So if it's a painting that you could write instructions to instruct somebody else on how to do it, then you could look at all the decorative painting magazines. If you have a collection of paintings that you really wouldn't be able to break down and do a demonstration on, but maybe they were all of a certain theme, or it helped you perfect a certain technique, and you have a body of work, you may look at a magazine like the Artist Magazine or Watercolor or Pastel Journal or something like that is a little bit more of a fine artist magazine. And then what you want to do, once you've found the magazine that your artwork will fit into, maybe it's a card, maybe you want to check out Card Maker magazine. So once you've found that magazine, you want to go online and look for their submission guidelines. If they don't have submission guidelines, then you want to send an email to the editor and ask them if they will send you some submission guidelines. That's called a query letter. You just say, hi, my name is Lindsay Weirich. I have a card that I think would look really, fit your magazine's presence really well. Could you please send me your submission guidelines? And submission guidelines basically tell you what you need to do to submit your artwork. So it'll usually tell you whether you can email a photo of your artwork or if you need to send them a photograph in the mail. Some magazines still require you to send them a photograph. Some might even still require you to send 35mm slides. Not too many anymore, but some will. I think it just kind of, it's a little bit, they get a better look at your artwork and get better detail from that, but I haven't seen that so much lately. They'll also probably ask you for a brief description, and they may even in their submission guidelines tell you how much they pay per article, but usually not. The payment that you get for submitted artwork is usually not very high. Higher if you're writing an article to accompany the project. And then you want to find out whether they are going to just publish your artwork or if they want to buy all the rights. Now, if they want all the rights to your work, they're generally going to pay you more. For instance, I had some kids' crafts published in Pack a Fun magazine, and they buy all the rights. So once I have given them all my material and signed the contract, they own it. I can't republish it. I can't do anything else with it, and they can put it in any upcoming books or magazines or their website, wherever they want, without getting my permission. It is so that's how that works. But they also pay a lot better for that than if it was just reader submitted artwork. So it's just a different relationship. So with the Decorative Painter, where I had this and several other pieces of artwork published, they bought first-time rights. So they wanted original artwork that has not been demonstrated in a class or a workshop or published before. So, but then after they've had it published, I think with it 6 months later, you can teach it or do whatever you want with it. Now that brings me to another point, why going through all this trouble to get your artwork published would be worth it. Well, if you're a painter and you teach workshops and and somebody sees your painting in the Decorative Painter and they say, oh, I would really love to take a class from that person, and they Google you and they see you have a workshop coming up, then they may enroll. And even in your artist bio, you could say, Lindsay Weirich teaches workshops throughout the country. I don't teach workshops throughout the country, but if I did, you know, that's what I would write. Or, you know, has a website where you can follow along in classes online, or whatever else you have to promote. It's a really great opportunity to get the people that would benefit from your products. You get the eyeballs on your products. So, you know, people see your tutorial in a magazine, they like it, then they may look you up online and see what else you have to offer. So that's really what the big benefit of getting your work in publications is. So nowadays, there aren't as many magazines out there. There are a handful compared to a truckload that there used to be. I love magazines. I've loved them since I was a kid. I remember, you know, looking forward to getting my YM or 17 magazine in the mail, and then calling up my girlfriend and we'd look through it together. Or I loved going through my mom's family circle magazines and looking at the craft projects and doing them with what supplies I had on hand, because I never had everything they had in the magazine. I've always had that love for magazines. I'm not going to stick my Kindle in my bag and go to the beach, but I will stick a couple magazines in there, or grab a couple magazines to have in the car while I'm waiting to pick up kids from sports. I love magazines, so I've really wanted to write for magazines. I write for Scrap and Stamp Arts magazine. That's pretty much it right now. But once you find that magazine where you really fit, it's magical. Once you find an editor that you really get on with, it's really great, and it can be really rewarding. But most of all, getting your work published is going to really promote your other out of the magazine type projects you have going on. So that's the other thing. So do you only hold out for print magazines, or do you offer your stuff up for digital publications too? That's really up to you. Personally, I only publish my work in print magazines because I figure if I'm going to do it digitally, then I'm going to put it on my blog so anyone can read it for free. And I've got people on my turf where they see the links to my YouTube channel and my shops and my, you know, graphic design shops and stuff like that. So they're right there on my turf already. They can see other things that I've done, and they don't have to hunt and peck and search around to find me. That's just my personal opinion. You can do whatever you want, whatever you think is going to benefit your career the best. So once you get your work, I just want to show you a little bit about the process of once your work is accepted. So I sent a photograph of this and it got accepted. So then what you'll get is a detailed instructions of what to do next. So what to do next? I had to create a pattern. So that was my line artwork. So that is going to be printed in the magazine, and they usually tell you how big they want it. And then they have you work up a sample board. So this is my sample board, and that's why these are unframed, because I thought it'd be really cool to frame my painting along with my sample board. So you have to show step by step, like the watercolor wash, adding details in colored pencils, adding highlights in colored pencils, and the details on the eggs. The funny thing is, the eggs in that, I juggle for a hobby, and the eggs they're in the mason jar were actually rubber juggling eggs that I had. So I thought I had them stored in a mason jar for some reason. I thought it looked kind of cool, and that's what the inspiration of that painting came from. So, you know, so you submit that too. And then I don't know if I have the overlay for that. I don't see the overlay for that. So you also make it an overlay, which is usually done on transparency. This is one for a different painting that I found when I was cleaning. So I've got this transparent overlay that tells you what they should be putting, what the graphic designers at the magazine will be putting for an overlay. So, you know, there's a lot more to it than just emailing off a picture of your artwork and that's that. Once you get accepted, the real work begins. So keep that in mind. It's not a quick, fast way to make a buck. You're putting a lot of work into it. I probably put any painting article I've done is probably, not including the painting, has probably had 20 hours to 40 hours of work in it. So you really want to consider that before you submit it. And quite frankly, a lot of magazines, especially craft magazines, don't pay anything. You just send them your work and hope for the best. There's a couple magazines, I just fill up a box full of cards that I've made, and I'll, you know, write, you know, brief instructions for each one, put it in the mail and hope for the best. You know, if they get published, great. If not, I think they donate them to charity, but, you know, that's that. And sometimes I've had things published in some magazines and never knew about it until a friend has told me, hey, I saw your card in the Stamper Sampler. I'm like, what? And I looked up, sure enough, it was in there. They never sent me a copy or let me know or anything. It was very weird. So, you know, different magazines run things differently, but most of all, make sure that you read the editorial guidelines, take a look at the editorial calendar, see what they want, follow their submission guidelines to a T. If they tell you to send a photograph via email that is no more than 600 pixels wide, that's what you send. You don't send them a huge file because you know that your work will look so much better in high definition. You do what they tell you, or they're not going to accept your work unless you're extremely lucky or extremely talented. But I wouldn't leave it a chance. I'd follow the submission guidelines to a T, and if you get accepted, make sure you follow through, you follow their instructions to the letter, so that hopefully in the future you will get more assignments. And then after you've gotten a few things accepted, you might get assignments where the editor will call you up and say, listen, I need an advent calendar for an issue in 8 months, can you design something for me? So, you know, those opportunities come once you've shown that you can be reliable. So I hope that if I've given you some good information, and you can decide whether you want to submit your artwork or your crafts for publication. And hopefully I demystified it a little bit, because I wish somebody was there to tell me how to do it when I began. I think it would have saved a few years of having submissions being sent out and nothing published. I think I could have jumped on that a lot quicker. If you're curious to see what publications I have been published in, you can go over to my blog. I have my resume right there, and you can look at my list of publications. And I don't know, it might give you some ideas of places you might want to try submitting to. If you want any other art marketing videos, if you're interested in how I've made my living as an artist for the past 15 years, leave a comment below, and it may be fodder for future videos. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe, and until next time, happy crafting.